The high Arctic is a realm defined by absolute extremes. It is a landscape forged in ice and sculpted by merciless winds. For 6 months of the year, darkness swallows this world entirely. During this long night, temperatures plummet to lethal depths. Only the most specialized organisms can endure the freezing isolation. But when the sun finally crests the horizon, it reveals a blinding desert of white. This is not an empty wasteland devoid of life. It is a dynamic, ever-shifting puzzle of frozen ocean. The sea ice is the very biological foundation of existence here. It is a physical bridge connecting the terrestrial world to the abyss below. Suddenly, a deafening crack echoes across the frozen plains. The sound of splitting ice is a stark warning. A massive paw steps deliberately over the fractured fissure. This is the undisputed monarch of the north. The polar bear wanders silently through the ruins of his melting empire. He is not a mindless monster born of cruelty. He is a solitary king playing a high-stakes game of survival. Evolution has spent millions of years perfecting this magnificent apex predator. He is an unparalleled marvel of biological engineering. Beneath his thick white coat lies jet-black skin designed to absorb the sun's scarce heat. His fur is not actually white, but translucent and completely hollow. These hollow guard hairs trap air to insulate his massive body. They protect him against temperatures that would freeze human blood in mere minutes. A dense, 4-inch layer of blubber shields his internal organs from the biting sub-zero wind. He is an ambush master engineered specifically for a world of solid, stable ice. But this ancient world is currently undergoing its most brutal test. The very ground he walks on is literally vanishing beneath his massive paws. The Arctic ecosystem is changing its fundamental rules faster than its inhabitants can adapt. Every single step he takes requires an immense expenditure of energy. He is a colossal, warm-blooded machine fueled entirely by fat. And his primary source of life-sustaining fuel is hiding deep beneath the frozen crust. Below the stark white surface lies a dark, unforgiving abyssal ocean. This is the sovereign domain of the ghost of the deep. The ringed seal navigates the freezing pitch-black waters with effortless grace. Unlike the massive bear above, the seal belongs entirely to the aquatic realm. Its torpedo-shaped body is perfectly contoured for swift underwater evasion. But it is permanently tethered to the hostile surface by a strict biological necessity. As a marine mammal, it must breathe atmospheric air to survive. To fulfill this need, the seal maintains a complex network of breathing holes. These vital lifelines are scratched through the ice using sharp claws. The indigenous Inuit people call these scattered breathing holes aglu. The seal's entire daily existence is defined by a state of constant, exhausting paranoia. It possesses hypersensitive vibrissae, or whiskers, that are incredibly advanced. These whiskers can detect the absolute slightest shift in oceanic water pressure. A single unnatural vibration in the current could mean the difference between life and death. The seal knows instinctively that lethal danger waits patiently above the ceiling of ice. The bear knows with equal certainty that vital sustenance swims somewhere below. The thick sea ice is the ultimate battlefield where their conflicting fates must intersect. The arrival of the annual melt season drastically accelerates the ticking biological clock. Spring brings a surge of abundant life to many other parts of the globe. But here in the high Arctic, the warming sun brings immediate desperation. The ice is fracturing earlier in the season and melting faster than in previous millennia. The bear's internal biological clock is screaming a warning of impending starvation. He must locate and consume enough high-calorie seal blubber right now. He needs to urgently build his fat reserves for the agonizing summer ahead. If he fails to secure enough prey, he faces months of severe starvation. He will be inevitably stranded on barren, rocky, terrestrial shores. On solid land, the great bear holds absolutely no natural hunting advantage. He cannot outrun a nimble caribou across the tundra. He cannot successfully hunt agile seals in the open, ice-free water. His ongoing survival depends entirely, unequivocally, on the frozen hunting platform. And that critical platform is visibly shrinking by the day. The harsh wind howls across the desolate expanse, freezing the moisture in the air. It creates a sparkling, mesmerizing diamond dust effect that blinds the unprepared eye. The solitary bear lowers his massive, scarred head, sniffing the biting wind. His highly evolved sense of smell is legendary among all terrestrial carnivores. He can detect a single seal from miles away. He can pinpoint its scent even when it is buried under a meter of compacted snow. Suddenly, he picks up a faint, promising scent. It is the distinct odor of fish and salt water rising through a distant, invisible fissure. His physical demeanor changes in a fraction of a second. His movements immediately shift from a heavy, swaying lumber to a calculated, deadly stalk. Every placement of his wide, heavily padded paws is highly deliberate. He absolutely must not make a single sound. The acoustic properties of sea ice amplify every surface vibration down into the water. He approaches the suspected breathing hole with the astonishing stealth of a much smaller predator. This is the beautiful, terrifying paradox of the polar bear. He possesses the raw physical strength to crush a thick skull with one powerful swipe. Yet he must hunt his elusive prey with the infinite patience of a carved statue. He settles down slowly and carefully beside the small opening in the ice. He tucks his stark black nose behind his white paws to camouflage himself completely. Now, the torturous, agonizing waiting game truly begins. Hours pass without a single muscle movement from the massive predator. The ambient temperature drops even further as the Arctic sun dips lower on the horizon. The bear intentionally slows his massive heart rate to conserve his rapidly dwindling energy. He strictly suppresses every natural instinct to shift his tremendous weight. He ignores the urge to shake off the creeping frost accumulating on his fur. He essentially becomes a frozen mountain of snow. He dissolves his presence until he becomes a seamless part of the barren landscape itself. Directly below him, the cold ocean currents swirl in the absolute darkness. The wary ringed seal is actively patrolling its submerged territory. Its lungs are burning for fresh oxygen. It carefully approaches one of its many established breathing holes. Its sensitive whiskers twitch nervously, analyzing the subtle vibrations of the water column. It ascends incredibly slowly toward the faint, welcoming glow of light penetrating the ice. The seal is eternally cautious, pausing deliberately just inches below the water's surface. It cautiously exhales a tiny stream of bubbles to test the acoustic environment above. Above the ice, the bear's sensitive ears catch the faint, rhythmic sound of water bubbling. His massive muscles tense instantly beneath his thick coat. The haunting white stillness of the Arctic is about to be violently shattered. This precise moment is the ultimate climax of a brutal evolutionary arms race. The silence of the Arctic is absolute. Until the very fraction of a second it is shattered. The polar bear does not merely reach his paw into the dark water. He launches his entire massive body weight directly downward at the frozen surface. His incredibly powerful front paws smash relentlessly through the thick layer of packed snow and solid ice. The explosive concussive force shatters the structural integrity of the igloo breathing hole instantly. Sharp, jagged shards of broken ice explode outward into the freezing air, like deadly glass shrapnel. He plunges his massive head and powerful front shoulders deep into the freezing abyssal water below. His razor-sharp, heavily curved claws extend fully, slicing blindly through the freezing oceanic current. Beneath the turbulent surface, the vigilant ringed seal reacts with blinding, instinctual speed. It twists its agile, torpedo-like body violently in a desperate attempt to escape into the protective darkness. But the great bear's evolutionary design is meticulously optimized for this exact, split-second confrontation. His massive jaws, driven by incredibly dense jaw muscles, snap shut with bone-crushing force. A terrifying, awe-inspiring display of raw, unfiltered kinetic energy unfolds on the very edge of the fragile ice. The bear utilizes his immensely powerful neck and shoulder muscles to pull violently backward. He leverages his incredible bulk to drag the heavy, thrashing seal up through the narrow, jagged opening. The physical struggle is intensely violent, but it is ultimately, inevitably brief. The stark, blinding, pristine white of the Arctic snow is suddenly stained with a vivid, shocking splash of crimson. This striking, unavoidable contrast is the raw, undeniable color of survival in the extreme, unforgiving north. The undisputed king of the Arctic has successfully secured his desperately needed prize. He immediately grips the heavy carcass firmly and drags it away from the dangerous, unstable edge of the ice. He must secure his hard-won, life-saving meal on solid, stable footing before taking a single bite. The biting, sub-zero wind howls across the plains, instantly freezing the saltwater clinging to his thick, insulated fur. He begins to feed with a desperate, ravenous, almost frantic urgency. He meticulously prioritizes consuming the calorie-dense, energy-rich blubber over the actual muscle and meat. This specific layer of fat is the pure, highly combustible biological fuel his massive internal engine requires to function. Every single mouthful of blubber is a calculated, vital deposit into his biological savings account. He must build an extensive, thick layer of internal fat to survive the impending, agonizing summer melt. During the summer, when the ice vanishes, he will be forced into a state of walking hibernation on the barren land. In the cold periphery of this brutal primal scene, opportunistic, patient shadows begin to gather silently. A small family of Arctic foxes, entirely cloaked in their pure, camouflaging white winter coats, watch from a safe distance. They are the ultimate, highly specialized scavengers of this harsh, unforgiving frozen wasteland. They have patiently tracked the great bear for many miles across the desolate terrain. They survive entirely on the discarded frozen remnants of his massive kills. In this deeply interconnected, fragile ecosystem, the deadly success of the apex predator ultimately sustains the lives of the smaller creatures. Nothing in this frozen, desolate kingdom is ever truly wasted or taken for granted. Every single calorie, every scrap of energy is efficiently recycled back into the intricate, merciless web of life. But as the massive bear finally rests heavily on the blood-stained ice, a grim, undeniable reality looms over the landscape. This single, incredibly demanding, successful hunt does not guarantee his long-term survival in this changing world. It merely resets the agonizing, relentlessly ticking biological countdown clock for a few more days. He lifts his heavy head and looks out over the vast, shifting expanse of the frozen ocean horizon. The fundamental, structural foundation of his world is changing rapidly, undeniably, and perhaps permanently. The critical sea ice is visibly thinning, breaking apart into much smaller, highly fragmented, unstable flows. The stable, solid hunting platform he desperately, evolutionarily relies upon is steadily disappearing beneath his massive paws. The high Arctic environment is suddenly demanding an unprecedented, accelerated rate of biological adaptation. It is ruthlessly forcing a highly specialized, perfectly evolved predator to change the ingrained habits forged over countless millennia. This entire frozen region is acting as a massive, unforgiving, real-time laboratory of rapid evolution. But the current, alarming pace of global climate change is vastly outpacing the slow, methodical crawl of natural selection. The true devastating cost of life here is no longer just paid in physical endurance, patience, and raw strength. It is now fundamentally paid in a desperate, exhausting race against an accelerating, rapidly melting timeline. Yet the polar bear is not merely a tragic victim, nor is he a quietly fading relic of a forgotten past. He is a fiercely resilient, incredibly powerful survivor, actively fighting a daily war against the changing Earth itself. As the long, freezing polar night slowly prepares to return, he stands completely alone against the howling, icy gale. He remains a breathtaking, awe-inspiring symbol of the wild, untamed beauty of a rapidly vanishing world. We must respect his incredible resilience and recognize the profound fragility of the kingdom he rules. Thank you for witnessing this extraordinary, sobering journey into the very heart of the extreme, unforgiving Arctic. If you were captivated by the raw power, the quiet tragedy, and the fragile balance of this hidden kingdom, do not forget to subscribe to our channel. Leave a comment below sharing your thoughts on the incredible resilience of these majestic animals and the challenges they face. Join us next time as we continue to relentlessly explore the most unforgiving, remote, and beautiful frontiers of our natural world.